Hello and welcome back to another football talk episode. It's been a couple of months since the last one. I just haven't got around to doing any, but I thought after the result over the weekend of Chelsea 1, Manchester City 3, I thought I'd just jump on my own, no guest or anything, just me talking about the status of Frank Lampard. Obviously, as I'm recording this, the Chelsea manager, and I'm sure he will be for a couple more weeks anyway, guaranteed. I don't think they'll sack him, and I'll explain why. But after the 3-1 defeat on Sunday, there was question marks over his job. Should he go? Should they sack him? Should they keep him? And what that result means against Manchester City. And basically, I'm going to explain why I think people who think he should get sacked need to kind of rethink their football opinions, because you know to think after a little bad patch, they should sack him, I think's a little ridiculous. So I'm definitely Lampard in. I'm not even a Chelsea fan, so don't. This is from a non-Chelsea fan at all. This is just my opinion on why Lampard should be still in charge of Chelsea for the foreseeable future. And I'm gonna have a look. We're gonna have a look at why as well. So we're gonna quickly just move over here to the league table for this year at the minute. Chelsea are currently ninth, and they can't go any higher because they don't have any games in hand on anyone. Teams above them like Aston Villa and Everton can make a larger gap ahead of them. So the furthest away they can go is 3 points behind the teams ahead of them. Realistically, obviously Aston Villa could lose both their games in hand. Who knows? Everton could lose their game in hand. So in terms of that gap between 6th, 7th, 8th, that could still just be the 3 points. And yes, their form hasn't been great recently. That's easy to say. But you've got to look at the big picture, right? We're halfway through the season. This is, for me, his first proper season in charge of Chelsea. We just look at last season. Look at that achievement. Finished 4th in the league. No transfers he could make. Wasn't even his own squad, because you've got to remember, this season now his squad that he wanted, because he's built a squad with the money he's got. Last season he didn't have any, probably half the players he didn't even want playing. Use the academy, like Mason Mount, Reece James, Tammy Abraham, those kind of players, even Billy Gilmore, they all came in and were fantastic, and no one gave Lampard a chance. Let's not forget that. No one gave him a chance at all of getting Champions League football, and he did that. Was he overachieving? Maybe, but it is Chelsea, so at the end of the day, they are a Champions League club. So you got to look at it and go, right, say if he did overachieve this season and he spent all this money, that still means he needs time for that squad to gel together. A lot of them are from new, they've never played in the Premier League before. Havertz, Werner, Thiago Silva, Mendy, players like that, the main players that are starting. They've never played in the Premier League, and it's such a change. It's so quick, and you've got to adapt quick. And there's a lot of examples of players that have come to this league and have failed the first season. Not failed, but struggled to get to terms. I remember watching Leroy Sané, for example. I thought, oh, this guy's going to be a fantastic signing. The first season at Manchester City, he wasn't great. Didn't get many starts, was struggling to get up to the pace, and just struggled. Next season, City won the league, and he was one of the most key players in that team. Same with Bernardo Silva. His first season at City was a little bit slow. Second season, he was one of the best midfielders in the league at the time. So it always takes around a year. So to judge them halfway through this season, like we look again, he's got a brand new squad. Remember, he's still inexperienced. He's still got to learn, and you're calling him to get the sack. If he turns around and gets just a nice three win run, they could go up near to the top 4. To call for him to be sacked halfway through his first proper season with his transfers and his lack of experience in the Premier League, he's not going to learn if you don't keep him on. This is his experience of learning. He's learning as he goes. When City bring in likes of Guardiola, Liverpool brought in Klopp, they've done it in the big stage. Lampard's previous job to this was Derby, and you might say, so why did they bring him in? But he's a Chelsea man, and he needs to learn, and this is the way he's learning, and it's a process. Fans in the modern day are very impatient, very, very impatient, and I think fans now have got to get round that not everything happens overnight. You've got to give everything time. Pep's first season, awful for his standard. I think they finished just fourth. Didn't play very well. Liverpool's first few years with Klopp, I think the first 1 or 2 years, didn't do very well. Solskjaer, he's not been doing too. He didn't do too great at United. You could say some might argue he was underachieving. And then look at him. Look at them now. They're doing fantastic this season. They could go top if they win the next game. They could go top by 3 points because Liverpool literally just lost tonight, about half an hour ago. So you've got to be patient. As well, Mikel Arteta, a prime example of now. They've won 3 on the bounce. Look at them, 3 points behind Chelsea, 23 points, to 6 points away from the top 4. That's 2 wins. It's easy to change it around. A blip is always going to happen to a manager. No matter who the manager, they're always going to find a blip. And this is Lampard's first proper blip with his new team and his new players. And this isn't going to last forever. It's not like, they're going to keep losing. They're going to turn it around. Their squad's fantastic. They've got great players. Yes, Werner and Havertz haven't lived up to expectation, but I am promising you now, you can all quote this, who is ever here, I guarantee you Havertz and Werner next year will be 10 times better than what they are this year. I know that's easy to say because they're not doing too well this season, but they've got the potential. In the Bundesliga, they were fantastic. They've just got to adapt to a new system. And if you don't give Lampard time to let them adapt and his formation and tactics adapt to them, we're never going to see how it's going to work. You can't just sack him because it's not going well. You've got to give it time. This was always going to be a process under Frank Lampard, and the Chelsea fans are already trying to throw that out of the window. It's a process. Bumps are going to happen. It's a tiny one. Will they get top 4 this season? They could do. If they don't, they go next season. And then the next season, that is the real test for Frank Lampard. If he doesn't perform, if he doesn't get the results, that's when you've got to go, is this guy the right man for the job? But at the minute, this season should be one where they try and adapt, get used to the league, all the new players, and get used to Frank Lampard's tactics. If they finish 5th, 6th, so be it. That's what it is. It's the first season. It was their first transition season. The next season, when he should be based on results, and if he doesn't get the results, that's when they've got to look at why things may not be working. And let's look at his other results as well that have just gone by. 3-1 loss to City. The way City played was unbelievable. Were Chelsea good? Were Chelsea bad, sorry? And that's what made City look so good. Oh, City just so good. We'll have arguments. I just think City were amazing yesterday. Their play in the first half especially was fantastic. A draw against Villa, they're a good team. Yes, it's at home. Disappointing. Arsenal away. This was a real big hitting point. They should have won that game. They come back off a 3-0 win against West Ham, who's also a rival. And, to be fair, Arsenal played youngsters. They had something to prove. So, that it was still an upset. Wolves, I watched this Wolves away. Just lack of concentration at the end. Everton away, just weren't clinical enough. Leeds at home, good result. Tottenham at home, decent result. And then look, Newcastle away, win. Sheffield, win. Burnley, win. United draw against Southampton. Palace, win. So, there's some decent results. They were unbeaten in about 16, I think it was, before the game against Everton. And they go on a game in a 1 win in 6. Is it the greatest? No, but look at the teams they're playing. They're not bad teams. Everton, Wolves, West Ham, Arsenal, they're good teams. So I think to put his job on the line because of these results, I think is very harsh and very unfair. Despite this season was supposed to be his season to prove himself, and you've got to give him longer than Christmas to prove himself in a job like this. But, the next few fixtures look a bit more favourable. The next fixture anyway, let's forget the FA Cup, but the Fulham away, that's got to be a win. They've got to pick up a point away at Leicester. They've got to win against Chelsea. And then, you look at the other fixtures, they've got to be picking up points. They have got to start winning again. Because even though I still think he shouldn't get sacked no matter what the results are, you know what the Chelsea board are like in their history on sacking managers. If they're not doing well enough, they'll sack him, and he does not care, Abramovich. That's just the way the game goes. So it's the matter of fact, can he dodge the Abramovich bullet as well of not getting sacked? The points are there to get. You've just got to give him time. This is why I had to make this video, because I was like, I can't believe people are actually saying they need to sack Frank Lampard. But I think give time this season and let them have next season, and the next season is where you really judge. If by next Christmas he's in the same spot with the same players and maybe a few improvements in the next summer, then you look, is Frank Lampard the man? And then if they want to sack him, then that's fair enough, because Lampard hasn't lived up to what he should have been doing with the squad he's got and the money they spent, over £200 million on players in this summer. And I don't know if they'll bring anyone in January. As of this video, they haven't yet, and I don't think they will anyway. Let's just quickly look at Frank Lampard's stats as well as the Chelsea boss. 80 matches, 41 wins, so just over 50% win ratio. 15 draws, 24 losses. In terms of wins, is it the greatest amount? Probably not. I think if you're probably expecting at least 50 wins, 55 wins out of 80 if you're at a club like Chelsea. But remember, he was not very experienced at the top level. You have to give him time. 15 draws, 24 losses, and then the goals scored as well. 163, decent amount. It's like around 2 goals a game. 113 conceded. We know they had an issue last season with conceding goals. They had the leakiest defence, I think, in the top half. Chelsea last year. We can actually check on the league table. What was it? They had a really leaky defence. They conceded 54. Yeah, the most in the top half they conceded last year. We knew they had those issues. They brought in Mendy, who I think, he's been under a bit of scrutiny recently. I still think he's a top class keeper as well. Remember, keepers have got to adapt to the league as well. They're not just, try to save shots out of the net. They've got to get used to the speed of the play because, keepers are so well used in today's game. They've got to get used. He's got to get used to that as well. Thiago Silva's been brought in again, not doing the greatest as of late, but he's a great experienced defender that can help the likes of Kurt Zouma, Rudiger, Christensen, adapt their games also when he does move on, because it is inevitable, probably move on at the end of the year or the next year. If they add him another year on his contract, he will leave and he can pass his excellent experience on to those players. So I think he's been a great signing as well. In terms of goals, they have tried to change that, also bringing in Chilwell as well. I've never been a fan of Chilwell, if I'm going to be honest, but I think he can definitely turn him around and become a great left back. So they've got the basis and they've got the structure there. They just need to learn the way Frank Lampard plays. And I'm sure when it starts clicking and he gets getting results again, people will look back at this and go, "Why were we talking like this? Frank Lampard, he did not deserve it." So they've tried to fix the conceding of goals, and like I said, and give it time. I'm sure they'll fix that. Because remember, they went on a run. When Mendy first came in, when they kept loads of clean sheets. Sevilla, Tottenham, Newcastle away, Rennes at home, Burnley, Krasnodar away in the Champions League, Sevilla at home, United away. A lot of clean sheets in that little period of time. Everyone's talking about how he was breaking Petr Cech's record of clean sheets. So they've definitely done things to get it fixed. And look at these. Look at the wins. Look from Palace. We'll go from the start of the season. Look at this little run they went on. They lost to Liverpool, which is always respectable. That was in the cup. That was in the cup in a penalty shootout. Look at all this. It is just from the Everton game, and you can't sack a manager off 6 results? Is it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 results? You want to sack a manager who's got plenty of potential, who got his team to an FA Cup final last year? I think it's very harsh for me, to say the least. Let's just quickly check his Premier League record before I do end the video. It's just a quick one to say why I am Lampard in, and how people need to not get too carried away with a 6-game blip. 55 games, 27 wins, 11 losses, 11 draws, 17 losses. Not the greatest record, but like I said, you've got to give the man time. If you don't give time, you're going to get nowhere. You're just going to be in the same cycle of sacking a manager because you don't give them enough time. So I think from what I've shown here and my arguments, I think, I don't think there's many people who could change my mind. Frank Lampard should be sacked in the foreseeable future. I think he should be kept on by Chelsea and Abramovich. They should try and stop the regime of sacking managers too early, and just have a look at themselves and go, is Lampard the man to bring us forward? And I think he actually is. So they've got to give him time. And once they give him time, like I said, I think the next review point is next Christmas. If by next Christmas he's in the same position as he is now, then you've got to look at we need to be close to the top 4 than we are at mid-table. So that's for me. I think that's why Frank Lampard should be kept on as manager. And let me know in the comments as well what you think as well. Should he be sacked? Should he be kept? How long should they try and keep him for? What does he need to do to keep his job? And all that, and let me know in the comments. But other than that, I hope you liked. Please subscribe as well. I'll be doing more Football Talk episodes in the future. I'll be trying to get Harvey on, Kenzie on as well, who are on. Well, Harvey was in 2 other Football Talk episodes. There's a playlist on the channel for those videos if you want to check them out. And Kenzie have been on the podcast I did during the first kind of lockdown we had back in April and June and March as well. So if you want to check them out, they're also on the channel. They're probably a bit outdated now, but some of them will be still relevant. So if you want to go watch them, that's fine. But I'm going to try and do more of these episodes, and let me know in the comments as well what kind of videos you want, like what topics you want, and I'll bring them to the channel. So let me know your opinions in the comments down below. And yeah, I'll leave my new second channel. That's in the description as well, alongside the Football Manager series, the Rangers one. It's getting real exciting. Even if you watch this in a couple of weeks' time when it's uploaded, watch the Rangers series. It's a great one. These episodes like 10, 11, 12, they're the ones you want to watch. But other than that, like and subscribe, and hope to see you for the next video on the Football Commentaries YouTube channel.